Welcome then to this week's tech episode, and in this week we are going to start looking at some AI and what you can do with AI, particularly Notebook LM. Also works in Google's AI Studio, but we're going to mainly focus around Google LM and what it can be used for and how we can use it to help us look at documents, YouTube videos, and all sorts of stuff that we can do to just summarize them as quick as possible. So here we have Notebook LM for you. It's basically a website from Google. Notebook LM stands for Notebook Language Model. It's based on language that interprets and then kind of summarizes for you. It's basically like a research document. You can see it's personalized AI research assistant. So all you need to do is sign into this with a Google account and then you can use it for free. It's pretty powerful. So we're going to have a look at this today and just see how it works. So as I open it up, I've got a couple of things which will just come out and show you here. So basically we've got all these different kind of ones that I've already set up. We're going to focus on this Key Stage 3 history here. Now, the way it works is that you need to add sources to it, which you can add on the top left up here. And basically you just add documents. So you click here and then you can drag the documents in from a file, upload them. We've already got some documents in there which I've put in, which I'll show you how they work in a second. But you can also add links to websites, YouTube, copy text, etc. It doesn't like Microsoft documents, obviously, because it's Google. So if you do have a Word document or PowerPoint, you need to convert it into a PDF or change it into Google Docs, which is easy enough to do. If you're not sure how to do it, just Google it, have a look. But probably the best thing to do is even within Word, you can export the document as PDF, which is fine, and then just upload it into here, which makes it easy enough to use. So we'll upload these documents that I've put into it. And we drag them over, and what we've added here, so I'm just going to deselect these, is we've got a government website here, you can see there, and I've also got this Key Stage 3 document for history in year 7. So we're going to focus first of all on this government one, so in terms of the breakdown of what is required for history. So we can just look at that, and then what we can do is create a mind map. So we click on this, it's something that's only just come in the last few weeks. We can click on the mind map and then we can go over to the right here once it's prepared and ready. If you need to get rid of it, you can just click on the dots here and you can delete it. But we're going to use this one. So as we open it up, it says Key Stage 3 History Curriculum, and we've got Purpose of Study. We can click on that and it breaks it down for us. So in other words, it will kind of like go through the document and pick it apart. If you then want to actually look specifically at different bits, you can click on them. So let's just look at the subject content for Key Stage 3. If we go into here and we want to look at Britain, Europe and the wider world in 1901 to present, we click on this and it will break it down. From here we can look, say we want to look at the First World War. If we click on that, it'll take us back into the normal website. And from here, if we just click to the left-hand side of it, you can see that basically it's got the sources mentioned the First World War, and it gives you all a breakdown from the document. Now, if you want to look into that document specifically, you can just click on the numbers that are there. So that'll bring up, so I click on this 2, it'll bring up the information from the document. I can also click on it and it'll take me straight to it as well. So if I need to copy and paste any of that into another document or use it for further research or using other AI tools, we can do that as well. So that's just the first part that you can have a play with. I'm going to close this down by clicking on the top part up here. You can just see I'm highlighted there. Then what we can do is we can refresh this just to get rid of it. So clear that. And we've got our mind map again. So let's now do a study guide. So click on this study guide. Wait for that to work. And then we can have a look at that as well. So that now gives this history curriculum review quiz. Quiz answers here may be useful to generate some questions that you want, but it's also got a glossary of terms at the bottom as well. So it's something just to have a play with. Different documents will have different uses, but I think that's quite helpful if you want to get a breakdown of key language that's within the document. So again, we're going to come out this by clicking in the top right, and we're going to create a briefing document. So again, it generates it here. Now there is a limit on what you can do with the audio up here, which I've already created for us. It will only allow you to do so many of these in a day. So I've generated this one already. We're going to click on this one here. So briefing document. So it's got a briefing, Key Stage 3, History, National Curriculum, England, and it basically is going to give you a briefing document. So it's great if you've got a new member of department, you want to explain to them what's in the curriculum, what the expectations are, you can use that. And it breaks it all down for you in terms of what the expectations are, non and non-statutory content down the bottom down here, which is quite handy. So again, useful to kind of explain what we're supposed to be doing within this Key Stage 3 curriculum. So that's that. Let's have a look at FAQs then. We'll click on that, and we'll also click on the timeline as well, so that's ready to go. So frequently asked questions comes up here. We click on that. So what is the fundamental aim of history education at Key Stage 3? And then it will give you the answer there. Now, bear in mind, so the difference with Google LLM Notebook compared to other AI tools is that it only uses what you put into it. So in other words, it won't give you anything that technically should be a wrong answer because it's pulling from the document and basically presenting that information to you. Whereas other AI tools, if you put something in there, will also then look at other information on the internet, draw from other sources, could give you the wrong information. This is quite powerful because it just draws from the information that's in there. So if we come out there, and I'm going to show you what I think is possibly one of the best things that it'll do for this particular subject, is if we click on the timeline, it will give you a full breakdown and timeline of everything that is within that national curriculum document for the Key Stage 3. So obviously the key people here. That's incredibly powerful to use as a revision tool, but also for if you need to break it down and give a list of things to students, it's quite handy to be able to basically produce that quite quickly and then copy it into things like Napkin AI, which I've shown before, because then it will create infographics for you. We can do that separately. So that's quite powerful. What we can do from here, though, is we can go back into the main bit here, and I've created this podcast, basically. And when I set it up, I gave it specific information to say I wanted it to become like almost like a revision tool, talk about the key people in history. So it'd be interesting to see what's created. I've not listened to it yet, so it could be a load of rubbish, could be useful, we'll have a go. So we're going to click play. You can do this interactive mode, which I'm not going to choose to do, but you can do that and basically ask it a question mid-podcast. It will pause and recreate the podcast, answering those questions for you, which is quite powerful. But the benefit of this is if you quite like it, it's 15 minutes long as we can see from up here. You can download it and then upload it, obviously, to students as well. So let's have a quick listen and see how it comes across.
Welcome to the deep dive, everybody. You're here because, let's be honest, you want to know the really essential stuff about British history. And you want it now in a way that actually makes sense and sticks with you. Right? So to think of this as your crash course, your shortcut to understanding these people who really shaped history. It's like your own personal revision session, just for you.
Exactly. That's a great way to put it.
So it has 2 people in it. It's a bit slow to start. So let's just zoom through and see what it actually comes up with, see if there's any use.
It's just as important to remember the influence of an institution as it is to remember specific people.
It's like a character in its own right, isn't it? The church.
Exactly. It had its own ambitions, its own agenda.
Okay, so let's fast forward a bit. Now we're talking about Britain between 1509 and 1745. This is when the Renaissance and Reformation are sweeping through.
So again, maybe useful, may not. Let's just zoom ahead. One more quick go to see if it's any good.
Commercial chapter.
Yeah. Cromwell. Definitely a figure who still gets people talking even today. So let's keep moving. We're into the next period now. Britain between 1745 and 1901. This is when the Enlightenment happens, and you have the transatlantic slave trade, which is a real...
So again, might be useful. I'm not a history specialist, so I wouldn't know, but it's based on the document and might be useful for students to listen to. Again, you can gear up how you want it to work with the questions at the beginning. So again, that's quite powerful. What we can do also is if we can deselect some of these, we can then select this Year 7 scheme of work here and try a different timeline. I'm hoping what it should do is it should select this resource and give it a timeline based on over on the left hand side, we've got the Key Stage 3 history scheme of work for Year 7. So let's have a look at that, see what it comes up with. And we've got a breakdown there, and it seems to show that it's got the different terms: term 1, term 2, term 1, term 2. Again, so it will just break down the key information that's within that document. Again, that's taken from one of the exam board websites with the examples of scheme of work there. So that might save you a lot of time in terms of if you want to just copy down the main sort of information that's needed there. And again, you can come back out of this, and if you regenerate the podcast, it will do that based on that document. You can also do it by selecting all of the resources and doing that as well. So that's how we can use one of the documents. Now, what I want to do is we're going to try something a little bit different with this in terms of using a YouTube clip, and I'm going to create a brand new notebook. We're going to go up to here. So basically, I've got this podcast from the Diary of the CEO. This gentleman here has written some books, got this Next Conversation, Argue Less, Talk More by Jefferson Fisher. It's the podcast with the Diary of the CEO. I'm just basically going to take this, I'm going to copy the link to this YouTube video, and we're going to paste that into here. So we're going to put that in and let's just select that there, and we'll copy and paste that in, insert, and then we'll see what it comes up with. So it's now thinking. It's got the link on the left hand side, power of words, mastering conversation dynamics. It's got a little breakdown here, blurb. And then what we can start to do is we can generate a podcast again up the top based on this information. We're going to do a mind map. We're going to do a study guide, briefing document, FAQ, and a timeline. And we'll have a look at those and see how it comes up. But again, you can do this from YouTube clips. So if you know there's a really good YouTube clip out there with information in it, it could be something that's been uploaded by the BBC or something like that, or someone who's a really useful podcast or video that someone's created as a resource, quite powerful to look at. So we look at the mind map here. We've got effective communication, so we can just take that back down, or we can break it up again. We can look at this. So say it with control. We've got say it with confidence, navigating difficult conversations. Let's have a click on that, and then we'll break it down here. So manage triggered individuals, dealing with belittling rude people. So lots of asking, what am I missing? Let's go with this one down the bottom here. So break that up. And we've got the silence of 5 to 7 seconds. Now, I already listened to this podcast, or parts of it anyway, so I'm quite keen to see if we can break it down to find the information as quick as possible. So what it will do now is I've selected that, is it will go into that podcast. And again, I can just click in the center part, and it's based on the information sources, particularly the excerpts from the speaking coach. We've got here, interrupts in typical reaction, calming yourself and preventing fight or flight. So again, it breaks it all down for you here so you can find the right information. And you can find that quite quickly. Again, you can click on the numbers and it'll take you to the relevant parts of the conversation here, although that does look like it's just selected all of the text, which might not be that useful. Let's have a look at these other things here. So we've got a briefing document, and then we've got these other ones here. So let's look at the key principles first of all. So frequently asked questions, this must be the FAQ. Why is it detrimental to approach arguments as something to be won? Quite useful article, basically based on the video. So you've got all that information there. Again, so you can read through that, you can summarize it, copy it. You can even convert it to source. So one of the things I didn't show before was if you click down the bottom on the convert to source icon, it will then put that over into the sources on the left hand side. So you can then reference that for another document or for another piece of research. Come back out of that again. Let's go up to the next one. So study guide. So according to Jefferson Fisher, what is a common instinct in disrespectful situations that should be avoided, and what 3-step process does he recommend instead? And then you've got the answer down here, and then we've got these essay format questions and glossary of terms. So again, that's quite useful. Let's have a look at the next one then. So we did the FAQ, study guide, timeline and main events. So this goes through all of the things from that. Again, quite interesting if you just want to break it down really, really quickly and read through it. And then the last one, briefing document, strategies, value of pauses, power of controlling speech, just breaks it all down into separate sections so that you can kind of find the bits that you want. And it's got the quotes in there as well. So again, that's possibly, I think, YouTube clips, getting that information, being able to summarize them is incredibly useful. You can also do it if you've got any PDF books, you can drop them in, you can get it to summarize things, create scripts from it, and give you like a detailed breakdown. So that is Google LM in a nutshell. It's very, very quick and easy to use. It's free, just sign up with a Google account and then you can get all that information in there and use it to create resources. So hopefully that's useful. Hopefully that's a good, nice, quick tip for you. And I'll have more AI resources and explanations on the way. Thanks very much.